I want to control the ease in and ease out of one side of this keyframe. I can't do that as it currently sits if the tangents are unified. And this can be a problem if I only want to affect this one side sort of ramping up quicker, and then I want it to level off and flatten back out and go back down as it already was on the other side. So I have this option up here, which is to break my tangents. So if you see this little dot running across here, it allows me to alter one side instead of the other, instead of both. Now if I want to go back, I can go to unify my tangents, which is right next to breaking the tangents. But as you see, it preserved that angle of that tangent. So there should be an option to flatten it over here. See, flatten my tangents there, and it gets me back to where I was. So that can be useful when you're working with details within the keyframes. Another thing we talked about is instead of setting multiple keyframes and trying to distribute the weight manually, so if I wanted to like have this kind of an ease out, there's another way to do it. In this particular case, if I wanted to distribute the weight across so that this hill was wider, I can't do it the way it certainly stands because it only goes as far as that tangent is naturally default set. So what I can do is go to my curves and go to weighted tangents. So what that's done is that it's allowed the mathematical operation behind it to extend infinitely, really. That weight is now distributed as far as I stretch. I can even create a peak right here so it's sharper. And this affects the animation based on the speed of that ease in and ease out of that keyframe. So weighted tangents can be really useful. You can go back to non-weighted and it'll go right back to the way it was. If I want to do a loop, first I have to tell Maya that we're going to be thinking about this in terms of infinity. Under view, there's a checkbox for infinity. And now if I want to cycle after my last keyframe, pretty simple. Set my keyframes and I will go to post infinity cycle, and I get an automatic loop for as long as I create my frame ranges. So you can see there's only 3 keyframes set here, but it's continuing to loop afterwards. That means that mathematically Maya understands what I've done and it's just repeating it. And that means anything I do here will repeat in my infinite loop over here. So this can be important whenever you're doing a walk cycle or something that you know will just keep going and you want to demonstrate that, like perhaps you're doing a presentation and you just want to have it looping. That was the post-infinity, and the same thing happens in pre-infinity. We can do pre-infinity cycle and it'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so another thing we learn here with cycle is how to continue a trajectory using cycle with offset. As you can see here, I have this cube climbing up an imaginary set of stairs, and let's say that same path, we want to repeat it. We need to make sure our keyframes are selected and make sure we are in post infinity before we do it, because we want to continue on this side of the timeline and do cycle offset, and it continues that trajectory. That is cycle with an offset, and you can do it on post infinity or pre infinity. Either one will work. So we go to, let's say we want to go in this trajectory at this angle, set the keyframe pre-infinity. We want to make sure we're in post-infinity and do a linear cycle, and it continues like that, so it keeps going forward. I think the key is to make sure that that your angle is clear. You have a clear trajectory that it's going in, and make sure you're in post infinity.